What's going on, everyone? Happy Thursday. Welcome into another edition of GC Live. I'm your host, Jack Veltri, as always, joined by my friend, former South Carolina right-handed pitcher, co-host, and College World Series champion as well, Ethan Carter. Ethan, how we doing, buddy?
Doing good, man. Fighting some technical difficulties over here, but other than that, no complaints. How about yourself, my man? You getting
Oh,
ready for travel?
yeah, man, getting ready to head back to Fort Mill today and then heading on to the airport in Charlotte tomorrow because I am going out to Baton Rouge this weekend,
Woo!
out to Tiger Town for South Carolina taking on the LSU Tigers in a 3-game series this weekend. We'll talk a lot about that series and everything that is going on with that. We'll preview, predict it as always, and share our thoughts. But before we get started, we do need to talk about our good friend Clint Hammond of CMG Home Loans. If you're in the market to buy a home, give a call to our guy Clint at 803-422-6797. You can also go to the NMLS number for him is 71597, or go to clinthammond.com for more information. And yeah, if you're in the market to buy a home, go to Clint. He's a lifelong Gamecock fan, longtime supporter of Gamecock Central, been the presenting sponsor of GC Live for as long as I know by now. And he's also in the mortgage industry for over 20 years. So he's the right guy to get in touch with, and all that contact info will be above us here on screen. Thank you, Clint. So Adam says, Jack, have fun in LSU. Go get a beignet. I was planning to. Maybe on Saturday was going to plan to go to New Orleans. It's only an hour away, and Friday's games at 7:30. Saturday's a night game. So I was thinking, like, okay, I'm gonna head to New Orleans during the day. Go chill a little bit. Go see some sights. But I don't know, man. The weather this weekend's not looking too great. Tomorrow, the weather tomorrow night is going to be brutal. Like, it's going to be 70-75% chance of rain the entire night. So there's a possibility there will be a doubleheader on Saturday.
Oof.
So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with that. Stay tuned to Gamecock Central if there's any update with that. I saw a tweet about that today, that a decision will be made tomorrow on whether or not there is a doubleheader. But yeah, the weather's not looking too good, man. And logically, you would think it would be a doubleheader because the weather will be good on Saturday and then Sunday. When you were a player, did you ever get to go out to LSU?
I didn't. No, it was in between my time here that we went down to LSU. It's one of the places I wish I'd gotten to play. Talking to former teammates and other guys just around the conference, like it's one of the favorite stops. So I'm bummed I never got to actually go play in Alex box.
Yeah, I'm excited to go. I've heard such good things about it. Like, it's an insane environment. I don't know how good of an environment it's going to be if it's.
I was going to say, man, maybe the rain is trying to do a little bit of justice for everybody involved, that these two teams might not have to play as much because it's been a rough season for both squads,
especially for LSU. They were preseason ranked number 2. And now they're like South Carolina's ahead of them in the conference standings. LSU's 6-15, and they haven't won a conference game. I was just looking it up a moment ago. April 5th, like,
whoa,
they've gotten swept the last 3 weekends, dude. And so, yeah,
that's tough.
Yeah, and this series, I think either way would have had some legs if the old ball coach was here for South Carolina, old Paul Maneri, but he is, he's obviously not at South Carolina anymore. And it is interesting. Somebody brought the question up here. What am I going to say if I see Paul? Maybe Paul will give me a big hug. Yeah, definitely not. I actually did reach out to him last week to see if he would like to talk ahead of the series. And he did say no. I don't really mind mentioning it because it's not a big deal. And then I did ask him afterwards, like, are you going to be at the series this upcoming weekend? And he never responded. So I have no idea if he's going to be there or not. Personally, I don't think he should go just because I don't even know if he's really liked by the LSU people, to be honest.
I'd say it was a tough in there for him. They got him out of there. it wasn't going great then. So yeah, who knows? But no. I mean, honestly, if I were him, I'd probably be doing something else with my weekend as well.
Yeah, maybe go golf or something. Maybe go get a beignet. maybe Paul Maneri needs a beignet.
There we go. Paul's actually working on opening a beignet shop.
Oh gosh, I would be pretty shocked if he were there this weekend. It wouldn't stun me if he were there, but I just don't. I don't think he needs to be there. That's just my opinion. But that's not what this weekend's about. Gamecocks heading down to Baton Rouge. They're actually leaving now. It was actually kind of cool. And this is another question for you. So they are doing like a MLB teams, or honestly just teams in general, will do like jerseys on the flight. Like they'll wear like a random jersey. Did you guys? They're doing that today. Did you ever do that when you were in college?
No, we had our travel gear that we wore, but no, we never did anything real. We didn't do anything super fun like that. It was pretty matter of fact. We're hopping on the bus and we're rolling. Because the only place, I mean, I think we've talked about this before. We've only flown twice. We flew to Omaha and we flew to Arkansas, I believe, and that might be wrong, but we only flew to two places.
Yeah, so you guys didn't have A&M yet, right?
No, we didn't have A&M. We didn't have Texas. We didn't have
Missouri.
Gosh, I mean, this might have been. I would say I don't even think Missouri was in the conference yet when I played. So that's how long ago this has been.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, because we busted to Kentucky, we busted to Georgia, we busted to Auburn, we busted to Danny. Hoover was definitely a bus because I actually had to do something family related, so I drove my parents down to Hoover. I got there a 6 hours late. But yeah, no, I mean it's travel was always on the bus for us. So yeah, nothing cool like that. But I think it's dope that the guys are doing a Jersey travel day.
Yeah, it'll be fun. And yes, I did manage to get a direct flight to Baton Rouge out of Charlotte.
There we go.
I thought I was gonna have to, dude. All right, so quick story before we really get into everything. So football was down there in October. And dude, I mean, it was so tough to find a flight. Me and a photographer, we literally had to fly into, I want to say it was like Mobile, Alabama. And then we drove 3 hours with a rental car to Baton Rouge. It was a nightmare. It was awful. Like, I mean, I would never recommend it. And honestly, like it was tough getting a flight to New Orleans. New Orleans is like an hour to Baton Rouge, but I mean, I was looking at prices and I'm like, oh, okay, I got a direct flight to Baton Rouge. It's about the same price. So I'm flying into Baton Rouge tomorrow, and it'll be a nice short drive to the hotel from there. Whether there's baseball tomorrow, I have no idea, but we will see. Yeah, and then one more comment here. Maybe Paul will dress as like that old like Bobby Valentine.
Oh yeah,
incognito, wear like the mustache and the hat and the sunglasses. I mean, that would be funny. But yeah, no, that would be funny. And then I'm surprised this comment hasn't come up more, honestly. And this was something you guys had to deal with back in the day with like the what's it called? The like the time limit, right?
Yeah, I forget what it was called. It was like it wasn't curfew.
Yeah, I think it was curfew, but it doesn't. But it's not a factor anymore. I was told this by a spokesperson like 2-3 weeks ago, maybe. There's no curfew unless it's like you have a commercial flight or something. But the team's flying, was it private? I guess technically or charter flight. So. Yeah, they're flying out of the airport right near the football stadium. So, but yeah, so let's go ahead and dive into, before we even get into the LSU series, we do need to briefly talk about what the hell happened Tuesday night. And pardon my brief language there, but like seriously, man, what the heck happened?
I mean, we hadn't lost the season series to Citadel since I was in high school. I mean, that was my senior year. That was my senior year of high school. Was the last time we lost the season series to Citadel. I mean,
it's laughable, dude. It's laughable. They've lost to Citadel twice this year, and they got shut out. They got three hit by the Citadel. I don't know, man. After winning a series over Kentucky over the weekend, yeah, you lost you blew that lead on Sunday to potentially sweep. This could have been you still got 9 SEC games left to go, but man, you're losing to the Citadel. It's one step forward, 2 steps back. I just don't get it with this team this season.
Yeah, I'm not even sure. Yeah, I mean, it's inexcusable. You know, you get a 3-hit shutout against Citadel. I think that this team. Yeah, I don't know whether it's a concentration issue or because, again, some good things happen and you expect it to get on a little bit of a roll. They took a series and the offense looked good against Kentucky. Like the offense finally seemed to find itself and things seemed to be going in the right direction, and then just lay an absolute egg on Tuesday. It's confounding watching this team try to play baseball sometimes. Yeah, I mean, I think this, again, we kind of alluded to it last week. This team's only chance of postseasons win the conference and win the conference tournament. And that's just, anything can happen, I guess. But this team, it's just they're not consistent enough. They show flashes of being a really good team. And that it can be there, but they're not consistent enough, and I don't know where that boils down to in the grand scheme.
Yeah, and I wrote about it in a story this morning with the postseason path. And it's funny. I actually wrote the story for Tuesday, and I was going to publish it after the game, thinking South Carolina's going to beat Citadel, and then as soon as they lost, I went and deleted it. And then I was talking to a colleague, and they're like, you know what? You shouldn't have deleted it. And I'm like, let me see if I can find it in the trash. And I was able to recover it, and then I popped it today. But yeah, I mean, basically what you just said right there is true. They're not consistent enough. That's literally what I wrote today. They'd probably need to go, if they're not going to win the conference tournament, you got to go somewhere in the ballpark of 8-2 to 10-0 over the final 2 games and get out of here. This is not happening. This team hasn't even, I don't even know if they've won, they've won maybe 5 in a row once this year. It's not happening. And especially against SEC competition, you're facing LSU, Bama, Winthrop, and then you go to Vanderbilt to close up the regular season before you go to the SEC tournament. It's just not happening. You can maybe take a series from LSU and Vanderbilt. Bama's going to be tough. They're a top 10 in RPI. I mean, that's the other thing about RPI. South Carolina's 93rd in RPI.
After that loss.
Oh yeah. I mean, they were
up to 80. They were up to 80. Didn't they get up to 80 after the Kentucky series?
They were so it was 80 after they took the first 2 games, and then it went down to 87, I want to say, after they lost on Sunday, which is kind of surprising they took that big of a hit. But yeah, man, their RPI is even if they win out the rest of the way, I cannot see their RPI getting higher than 50 maybe. And you're just not making the tournament that way. You're not making it, even with 16 wins, you're not making it with the RPI that they have. And they've lost so many games to quad 4 teams. And Citadel's not a quad 4 loss, I don't think. But point is, man, they don't have enough. They only have 1 quad 1 win right now. I mean, they've really hurt themselves by all those early losses. And I think if they hadn't lost these midweek games, yeah, I mean, they're probably right in contention. They're probably on a good track to where, if they get to 13 wins, maybe they make the tournament because their RPI probably is in the probably the 30s or 40s, but that's not the spot they're in. They've lost a lot of games that they're probably kicking themselves for right now, and the Citadel loss is the latest one to add to the list.
Yeah, no, like as you were going on there, I scrolled through the schedule. They've got their longest win streak is 5 games, and that's it. The next longest is 4.
Those were probably early in the season too.
It was the stretch where they beat. I mean, this is pretty embarrassing, actually. It's the stretch where they beat USC Upstate, Charleston Southern, and swept Princeton.
Ugh.
And then they followed that up with a loss to the Citadel. That was how that win streak ended.
Oh man, that is funny.
So yeah, 2 losses to the Citadel, a loss to Charlotte, a loss to Queens. Obviously the losses to
Army,
Northern Kentucky. It's just
Charleston. They've lost so many bad games this season, and this is a good question here. I actually really don't know the answer to this. So, like in college football, when you're trying to determine who's making the playoff, typically if there's a coaching change, I think a little bit of the committee will give a little bit of leniency. I don't know if that's taken into account here with I don't even who determines which teams are going to the postseason. Like, I can imagine it's a literal committee of people, but yeah, I don't know if they're taking a coaching change into account, especially if your wins aren't there, your RPI's not there. Like you said, Ethan, realistically, they got to win the SEC tournament just to get to the postseason.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, again, I think Monty's done a commendable job with this team. But they still got swept by Georgia. They got smoked by UNC in the midweek. They lost to the Citadel. They lost to College of Charleston. This team, as we've said, they've been too inconsistent to get any grace from any kind of committee. That, to your point, even if they go 10-0 to end the season and they finish the regular season at 32-24, and the conference would be 16-14. I don't think that's a tournament team. Maybe if they go on also a little bit of a run in the SEC tournament, but then you're looking at almost a 14-game winning streak, which this team just doesn't have it in them. I mean, we're getting into some real hypotheticals here that are a little far-fetched. And yeah, man, it's disappointing because, again, the team has shown flashes. The pitching staff up until, Kentucky it was a little rough this past weekend. But for the most part, the pitching staff's been really good this year. And it's just been frustrating that the offense hasn't been consistent enough to warrant to see what this team could do in any kind of postseason. So
yeah. And just to clarify here, if they make the postseason, they are definitely not hosting. 16 wins in SEC play. Typically, I think that's what South Carolina had when they did host 3 years ago. So, typically, but given the record South Carolina has, absolutely not. There's no way. They would be probably a 2 or 3 seed. Probably a 3 seed going somewhere.
They'd be a 3. Yeah, they'd be a 3, and they'd probably make them travel a little bit too.
Yeah. It's just not.
So it's unfortunate.
Yeah, they've not shown us anything to believe they're going to go here and just set the world on fire. They played better, but then it's these games against Citadel remind you of this is where this season is. This is not an accident that Paul Maneri is no longer the head coach, and that the product on the field just has not been good enough, and it's not consistent whatsoever. Let's go ahead and look at the series. Monty Lee did talk to the media earlier today, did announce that Ant Phillips is going to start tomorrow. Brandon Stone is going to start on Saturday, and then TBA on Sunday. Though if he does not pitch on Friday or Saturday, Alex Valentine would likely start on Sunday. We don't know who's pitching for LSU yet. One thing we do know is I saw a report today from an LSU reporter. Kason Evans, who's been LSU's Friday guy this season, is not – it's unclear whether he'll pitch this weekend or not.
Yeah.
Jay Johnson said he missed last weekend at Mississippi State, which honestly is probably a good thing because LSU got swept by the Bulldogs, and he has not pitched since April 17th. So he's Getting 2-2 on the year, 5.47 ERA. Again, typically LSU's Friday guy. We don't know if he's pitching yet this weekend. We'll see what the matchups look like when those get out there. But as far as this weekend goes, from a pitching standpoint, no surprises for South Carolina. Now, with the doubleheader, and I probably should have asked Monty this, how do you probably approach things? Do you just keep things the same as far as like who starts those days? Like I would guess it'd be Amp and Brandon. Like you keep those guys the same probably?
Yeah, I would think so. It's when you're going through it like this, that would be my assumption, is that they keep it the way it's been.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. I don't think there's any need to really change it. Now, with it potentially being a doubleheader, I wonder how they would use Valentine, if at all. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, that'd be a little tough to avoid. I think you're trying to win the doubleheader, if there is a doubleheader. Like you're trying to sweep that thing. And honestly, at this point, yes, I know South Carolina needs to win every game possible, but like at this point, winning series I think is good enough too. Like it's not going to get you to the postseason probably, but you keep winning series. Who knows, man? I mean, it's just that's the best thing you could do right now, is have momentum at least going into Hoover. And Hoover's a dark place for South Carolina. Like it has not been kind over the years. I know you're shaking your head.
We went 2-Q. We were in and out, man. I don't know, man. That was who'd we play? I know we played Ole Miss.
What year? What year? I'll look it up.
2010. I know we played Ole Miss one game. I can't remember if that's who knocked us out, but I pitched in.
I got it right here. So yes, got shut out by Ole Miss 3-0, and then lost to Auburn.
Okay. Yes. Okay. And brother, Coach Tanner told us we had 30 minutes. We got back to the hotel, and he said we had 30 minutes, and we were getting on the bus to go home. And if we're on the bus, we could ride with our parents back. And we had to tag, because we stay at that huge hotel that's got that mall there.
Yeah.
And we had to tag team. We were trying to figure out with roommates who was going to shower, and if whoever showered first, the other had to go get food for the guy in the shower and themselves. And then we'd flip it. And brother, Coach Chair was 30 minutes, boys. We are out of here. Oh man, Hoover sucks. God, we hated Hoover.
Yeah, I actually don't mind. It's surprisingly, I don't. It's different for me, but I don't mind Hoover.
It's a fun play. I would
fun.
On my wish list of being a college baseball fan now in his 30s. I want to go to Hoover and just watch it, just be there as a spectator. And I want to go to Omaha, obviously, and be a spectator. But no, I mean, Hoover, the idea of Hoover is great.
It's sick. I remember 2 years ago and this relates to LSU somehow, of course, was they played I think South Carolina played 5 games out in Hoover. They beat Alabama in the first game, and that was the win that they needed to get into the tournament, I think. They beat Arkansas in a thriller, and then they lost to LSU the first time. They lost on no, it wasn't a walk-off. It was Michael Braswell had a go-ahead RBI hit.
I remember this. Yeah.
And then they beat Kentucky in an elimination game, and then they blew that 8-0 lead to LSU in the semis. But that was a crazy week, man. I was not expecting to be there for 5 days, but then last year stunk. Because I was literally there I got in an hour or two before the game, took forever to get my credential, and then was at the game, and they lost to Florida, and then the next morning I was on the road back. Hoover can be a lot of fun. It's a good time. The environment there, especially LSU traveled really well to Hoover when I was there 2 years ago, man. Those fans, I mean, it really is I've never been to Omaha, but it definitely gives me vibes of this is what Omaha could be like when things are good.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's and then the tricky part is if there's any weather, you're in for it, man. If there's
those
any
early
weather,
games, it's all day games. You could be playing at 9:30 in the morning or playing at 10 o'clock at night. It is. What times did you guys play when? Like, what was like the schedule? God,
because we finished, let's see here, we finished second in the East to Florida. So we had a decent seed, which is why we played Ole Miss. But it was like a midday game. If I'm remembering correctly, we were actually pretty lucky with our times. Because then like I said, we played Auburn and we thought we were going to have a little bit of advantage because I think Auburn went late that night. But we were pretty lucky. The most memorable thing about Hoover for 2010 was we were automatically warned before the game to both benches were warned against Ole Miss. We had our pitchers meeting, and it was explained to us in great detail that if we hit somebody for Ole Miss, we were most likely taking an early trip to the showers. So,
oh man,
yeah, we had a scuffle with them in Game 3 at our place. Their third baseman deked Witt into sliding on a play at third that he didn't need to slide, and when he did, he dropped his knee dropped his knee on Witt's head. So we didn't clear, but like 8 of us hopped the rail. Like we were in the warning track dirt. So yeah, when we played them in Omaha, they're like, all right, we're letting everyone know now that like we kind of remember what happened here and do not go inside too much. So that was the most exciting part about Hoover for us.
Oh man.
But yeah, we'll regale with more Hoover stories.
Yeah, we'll have more. We'll talk more Hoover when we get closer to mid-May there. But anyway, back to the weekend here. So again, Kason Evans, I don't know if he's going to start tomorrow or shoot Saturday, whenever the heck the first game is going to be. But it's LSU struggled this year, no doubt about it. It's surprising because again, I think this is where South Carolina's losses to mid-major teams have really killed them. Is that South Carolina's 93rd in the RPI, but even though LSU has a worst SEC record, they're 61st, and they're 25-21 on the year. I remember they lost a series to Sacramento State. Like, they've lost a handful of games to mid-majors this year, and I don't know how. I mean, I think it's probably just because they started so high in the RPI at the beginning of the year. But this LSU team, I hate to say it, but I do think if they go out here and sweep South Carolina this weekend, which I don't think is off the table at all, that might be enough to wake LSU up here. And I mean, shoot, I think if they get to probably 13 SEC wins, they're going to get in probably. I mean, don't you think?
Yeah, I would think so. They've got a path. That's the thing. They have some of that preseason pedigree. And yeah, they're kind of on that other side. If they get on a little bit of a heater, they could definitely sneak their way in. But I mean, they've had injuries, other things. Coach Johnson's kind of alluded to that they did a poor job in kind of building this roster with personalities and other things. So sounds like a lot is going on behind the scenes there at LSU, to the point where, again, it's not off the table that we lose this series. But also this is one of the few series where it's like, if you tell me somebody sweeps, I'll just nod my head and keep on moving, because it's been a disastrous season for them. And it's only not been a worse season for South Carolina because they fired their head coach in the second SEC series of the year. So it's for some two historically great programs, it has been quite bad for both these teams.
It's crazy how bad LSU's been. And yeah, you mentioned that little statement there that Jay had a few weeks ago. I don't blame him. First off, I mean,
I was trying to see if I could find it.
Yeah, I will mention they also have another season-ending injury with Jake Brown, who's been one of their top sluggers for a few years now. He's hitting 309, 16 homers, 49 RBIs. He's been clearly the best hitter LSU's had this year. He got hit by a pitch, I want to say, a week or two ago, and his season's over now. So South Carolina won't have to worry about pitching around him. But there's still some dudes in this lineup. Like you got Stephen Milam, who's been there for a few years now. He's the guy that hit the walk-off home run against Carolina that knocked him out of the tournament 2 years ago in Hoover. You got Derek Curiel, like you got Cade Armabide, Omar Cerna. I mean, you got some guys on this team that are very good. Pitching wise, I do wonder what LSU is going to throw out there this weekend. I could not tell you. Like, I'm looking at their staff right now. Like, let's see. Where is his face at? I mean, maybe Gavin Guidry. Like, their staff has not been very good this year.
No.
I mean, 5.5 ERA overall. I mean, I really don't know what they're going to do this weekend. So I think, to all that to be said, I think Carolina's got the advantage from a pitching standpoint. No surprise there. I think their bullpens. I think South Carolina's bullpen's been tested now to where, okay, when Amp didn't go long, when Valentine didn't go long, the bullpen mostly shut it down against Kentucky over the weekend. So that's a good thing. That, yeah, if worse comes worst, your bullpen's going to have to really step up. But I think Carolina's got the advantage from a pitching standpoint. But it's every weekend, man. Can your offense score enough runs? And if Tuesday indicated anything, it's that this offense is mighty inconsistent this year.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's, you kind of look over LSU's schedule and, some of their games, they're generally getting beaten some slugfests. Obviously their offense has put up some stinkers too. But a lot of it is that their pitching staff's been hit pretty hard by injuries, and the guys that have been there just have not stepped up and done the job for them as a staff. So yeah, it is back to, is your offense good enough to find some consistency and win a SEC series? They did it last weekend, which is something we weren't sure about. I know I picked us to lose that series because of that. And, it came out, but then, again, it put up a 0 against the Citadel on Tuesday. So it's really going to come down to is this offense awake or is it asleep at the wheel? And that's, I mean, that is sound like a broken record on this stream sometimes, because it really is that simple with this team. Hopefully, and changing gear a little bit, hopefully Amp and Brandon was okay last weekend, but hopefully Amp can kind of figure it back out. And the pitching staff, the starters, can get a little bit deeper into the game this weekend, because the bullpen definitely was used quite a bit last weekend. So I'll be definitely keeping an eye on that. Can Amp and Brandon kind of lock in here and give the staff a little bit of length?
I will ask you, I don't know if you watched Friday's game. I'm sure we texted about it, but did you see anything that stood out with why Amp struggled so much?
Not anything on the broadcast. I did not do my typical rewatch of the starters. Generally, I'll go back and rewatch the starters outings at the least. But I didn't see anything, that was really sticking out. A little bit of command stuff. Like I said, 4 walks was high for him. So there wasn't anything mechanical. It just, sometimes you just don't have it. And especially a guy like him that I feel like really, really does rely on good control more than great stuff. I think he has very good stuff, but a lot of it is, working around the zone and making those tough pitches. Did seem like he was trying to nibble maybe a little too much, and he got behind in some counts, and it's just one of those weekends. There's nothing that I saw that I'd be like, ooh, kind of like with Riley. I've kind of seen what the issue was with Riley on a lot of his starts. So I didn't see anything to be alarmed of. I think Amp's going to lock back in, and I doubt we see the 4 walks again. I think that's always been his bad starts generally have multiple walks in them. So I think he'll nothing to raise an alarm for him on.
We'll go ahead and lock in some weekend predictions, but before we do that, I got to talk to you guys real quick about our good friend Andy Ludicky, who is sponsoring our baseball coverage this spring. He's a big baseball fan, and from his line of work, he has seen firsthand the fantastic traits that baseball players bring to the franchise world. If you're sick of your job, ready to leave the corporate rat race, want to diversify, build wealth, and leave a legacy, have a job, and want a side hustle, Andy can help you out with all of that. Andy is a franchise consultant as well as a franchise owner and helps people find franchises that fit their skill sets, passions, and financial requirements. His services are 100% free, and he's here to help if you have any questions about business ownership. Head on over to myperfectfranchise.net. That is myperfectfranchise.net to learn more, or you can text or call Andy at 404-973-9901. Again, the number to call Andy Ludicky is 404-973-9901. Thank you, Andy. All right, Ethan, like I said, a little bit of a shorter show, but it's kind of par for the course with where things are at right now. What do you got this weekend, man? We both picked South Carolina to lose the series, though I did say it wouldn't have shocked me at all if they won the series, and they took game one, so that was right in line with it. What do you got this weekend, man? What are you thinking for the Gamecocks and Tigers?
I think we're going to end up seeing that doubleheader on Saturday. I think the weather's gonna factor in there on that. Maybe a little reverse psychology here, but I'm gonna pick LSU to take 2 out of 3. In all honesty, I can't trust the offense. I mean, if they'd won on Tuesday, or even if they lost like 9-8 on Tuesday, I feel more comfortable saying, okay, the offense has found a rhythm. LSU's really been playing bad this year. Let's go win a series. But asking the offense to possibly play 18 innings, I can't in good conscience keep picking this offense to win. So I do think we're going to see a couple high-scoring games. I think Sunday is going to be one of those typical SEC getaway games where it's like 12-11. But I'm going to go ahead and take LSU with a big old wink and a nudge. Take LSU, take 2 out of 3.
Yeah, Big Red got South Carolina win the series this weekend. This team is an anomaly, losing when they should win and win when they should lose. That's a very good point. And it brings me to my standpoint on this weekend. I don't know. Again, I think we are going to see Saturday be a doubleheader, and it's very tough to sweep a doubleheader. South Carolina's got the pitching advantage for sure, especially if Evans doesn't pitch for LSU, and even then he hasn't really been too sharp for them throughout this year. It's at LSU. I don't know what the box is going to be like this weekend when the team's good, the crowds are really good. But I don't know what it's going to look like this weekend. I truly don't know. The team has stunk lately. They've gotten swept the last 3 weekends. But LSU's got a lot more to play for right now than South Carolina, which is weird to say because it's like if LSU loses the series this weekend or gets swept,
they're done.
They're done for the regular season. Their path at this point, like right now, their path is still finish out the regular season strong, go get a win or 2 in Hoover, and you're probably going to the tournament. LSU's not getting kicked out if they win 13 games. But if South Carolina does take the series this weekend or sweeps, especially sweeps, if they sweep LSU, LSU's done. Like that, they cannot. They have to win the SEC tournament and get in. There's no way that a 12-win SEC or LSU team is getting in, especially with what would be like a mid-70s RPI. Probably they would drop significantly in the RPI if South Carolina wins. All that to be said, though, I cannot see South Carolina winning this series. And this is not even reverse psychology. I just don't see it, man. They play better baseball under Monty, but they're going on the road. It's going to be a doubleheader probably on Saturday. I can't see it. So I'm going to take South Carolina to lose 2 out of 3. I just think LSU's got a lot more to play for and at stake. And it just feels like it happened with Mississippi State. Mississippi State got swept the last 2 weekends before coming to Columbia. And then since then, they've been red hot. And this just feels like the weekend that LSU hasn't given us any reason to believe they're going to play well. But considering what happened last week in Starkville, they were in those games. They just blew them at the end. This is the weekend LSU's finally going to get it going. And I think from here, they're able to kind of sneak into the postseason after having a good finish to the regular season. So I'm going to take LSU to win the series 2 out of 3. I don't know, man. I just maybe if Paul's there, South Carolina will be a little bit more motivated. But
maybe.
I would definitely be interested to see. That would be a whole nother series. Here's the question here for Big Red. If it's a 3-game series, if you win 2, does the third game matter as much? For LSU, yeah. If LSU sweeps, that would be ideal for them because they would be 9-15 with 6 SEC games to go. Carolina, you're just trying to stack as many wins as possible. So, yeah, game 3 matters for both teams for sure. But in the grand scheme of things, just winning a series would be good enough. But I think we're both in agreement that LSU is going to take the series this weekend out there in Baton Rouge. So that is going to do it for us for now. Again, a little bit of a shorter show, but it's tough when things just aren't really going too well right now. I think we'd have a lot more to talk about if South Carolina didn't lose to. If they didn't lose to those last 2 games there. Honestly, I mean, they should not have blown that lead on Sunday when you had the momentum. And yeah, I mean, then losing to Citadel, it's kind of brought everything back down to earth a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you win those 2 games, you're sitting at 24-22. You've got 8 SEC wins, and it's and then you've got a bad LSU team here. You're looking at getting to double-digit SEC wins with 2 series left in the year. You can maybe see some things happening with this squad. You can talk yourself into it. But yeah, I mean, those last 2 games just kind of just takes the wind out of your sails. And this team has done that time and again this season, that they just kind of, they dog it at the wrong time. And it's, it stinks. And I hate it for the guys. Cause they want to win the games. They don't want to, deal with all this. So, yeah, we'll definitely have more to talk about as the season draws closer to ending. There will be new things to discuss, but when it comes to the team and the play that's happening on the field, there's not a ton to get excited about right now.
No, there's not. So first pitch tomorrow night, let's just talk like it's going to be playing tomorrow. Yeah. I really don't know if they're going to play tomorrow. My hope is that it's not. Again, it'll be 6:30 Central Time start for me. I'm really hoping it's not going to be this thing where they wait until 11 o'clock at night to start this game, and then it's over at 2 in the morning. I'm hoping the weather does not look good tomorrow. So we'll see. Maybe they'll play. Maybe they won't. Worst case right now, as things stand, 7:30 first pitch tomorrow night on SEC Network Plus from the box. Saturday will be 7 p.m. on SEC Network Plus, and then the series finale, Getaway Day, is 3 p.m. on SEC Network Plus. So thanks for tuning in, everyone. We will talk next week and break down. There's no midweek game next week. So again, one more midweek game to go. That's against Winthrop here in about 2 weeks. And we'll talk about the Alabama series, recap this one, and then look forward to what's next. So until next time, for Gamecock Central, I'm Jack Veltri, and of course, 2010 College World Series champion Ethan Carter to my right. Appreciate you guys tuning in as always. Have a good weekend, and we'll see you next time. Bye.